You were never an imposter, unlearning self-doubt and reclaiming your space. Written by Maureen. You are listening to Empower Mind Talk, navigating mental health, strength, and belonging. And let me tell you something, this is a real soul talk. I am your host, Maureen, a life and purpose coach, mental health advocate, agile coach, author, and a fellow traveler on this winding path of healing, identity, and homecoming. Before we start, let's begin with the back of the book. And in this episode or the coming ones, I'll be going a little bit deeper into my books and we'll be reading them together for a while. And let's see how long that's hold. So before we begin with the book, let's get into the backpack of the book. You walk into the room, you have worked for it. You have earned it. You should feel proud, yes, and yet a quiet voice whispers, what if they found out you don't belong? This is the hidden reality of imposter syndrome, one that lives beneath success, behind achievements, and within some of most capable driven individuals. It is not loud, but it is persistent, not visible, but deeply felt. In this deeply moving and transformative book, I invite you to step beyond the surface of self-doubt and into the powerful journey of understanding, awareness, and self-reclamation. Through vivid stories and real, relatable experiences, you will meet voices that echo your own. Ava, James, Fatima, Ethan, Maria, each navigating the silence tension between external success and internal doubt, guiding you through the roots of imposter syndrome. These psychological patterns and the environments that often reinforce it. But this book goes further. Let you be warned. It does not only ask, what is wrong with me? It invites you to ask, what shaped these and how can I change my relationship with it? Blending psychological insights with practical tools and deeply human psychology, philosophy of Ubuntu, I am because we are. This book reminds you that you are never or were never meant to carry these alone. You will learn how to recognize and challenge your inner critic, separate feelings from facts, reframe self-doubt into self-awareness, build confidence through practice, not perfection, and reclaim your voice, your story, and your place. Because the truth is this, you were never an imposter. You were someone who learned to doubt yourself, and what is learned can be unlearned. This is not just a book about overcoming imposter syndrome. It is a journey back to yourself. Have fun reading and see you in the next episode. Welcome back, dear souls, to Empower Mind Talk. Today, I decided to do something I've never done on the podcast. And as you might have realized, I've been off for kind of 2 months without having recorded a podcast. It has just been too much on my table, I would say. I started with the summit in Kenya where I brought women together to the workshop of the Strong Woman Trap, as well as launching my current book, Ubuntu in Action, The African Way, that's available in Kenya, other space. And I was I would say, got back into writing again. And before the Ubuntu in action, I had published a You Were Never an Imposter. And this is a topic that I keep doing in the university. And I remember the last month in July, I was in the university at my home and did that workshop again with doctors students who are becoming doctors, PhD students, I would say. And it was just amazing. And that's why I have decided to maybe give you glimpse on my books on this platform for the maybe the next coming weeks. I'll see how long I can hold on that before I drift back to the Empowerment Talks themes. And that's why I am reading with you today You Were Never an Imposter, Unlearning Self-Doubt and Reclaiming Your Space. And I would begin with a prologue. We have a disclaimer before that. We have a dedication and how to read this book, so we're not going to get to that. But we begin with the prologue. And that's a note from me as the author. In the hushed corner of boardrooms where silence often speaks louder than words, I sit at the table, aware of every glance, every pause, every unspoken question lingering in the air. I am often the only one who looks like me in those rooms, a Black woman in spaces not built with me in mind. My presence feels like both triumph and a test. I have learned my seat or earned to sit there and learned how to be there or to be here. Through discipline, of course, through sacrifice and persistence. Yet there are moments when it feels as though I must continue to prove that I belong. Long after I have already arrived, and that's something that's always with me. I carry more than my own ambitions into these rooms. I carry a legacy. I carry the dreams of those who came before me, those who were denied access, denied opportunity, denied the chance to even imagine themselves in spaces like these. I am the first in my family to pursue higher education, the first to earn multiple degrees, the first to drive my own car, the first to build something on my own through, of course, entrepreneurship. From the outside, it may look like success, and it is indeed success. But inside, there are moments when a quieter voice rises above the noise of achievement, a voice that whispers, "What if you don't belong here? What if they find out? What if this is all a mistake?" This is the voice of imposter syndrome. It does not shout. It does not announce itself boldly. It lingers in the spaces between accomplishments, in the seconds after praise, in the quiet moments when you are alone with your thoughts. It questions not what you have done, but who you are allowed to be. And for many of us, especially those navigating spaces where we are underrepresented, this voice is not born in isolation. No, it is shaped by history. It is reinforced by systems. It is echoed by environments that one never designs to reflect our image back to us. Yes, let that sit a little bit. Because when you rarely see yourself represented in positions of power, success can feel like borrowed space, something granted, not something earned. And there were nights when I sat with my achievement laid out before me, degrees, milestones, progress, and still felt like I was waiting for permission to fully own them. And as if somewhere someone held an invisible stamp of legitimacy that I had not yet earned. What is rarely spoken about, what quietly lives beneath these thoughts, is the weight of context, because for some of us, the journey is not only about achievement, it is about adaptation, about translation, not just of language now, but of self, translation of your personal self, the innest you being translated. It is about walking into rooms where you were or you are not only new, but visible differently. Let that sink. It is about walking into rooms where you are not only new, but visible different, where you are not just a woman, but the Black woman, not just a colleague, but the one with a migration background, where you meet racism and discrimination on the doorway to your goals, where your presence is noticed before your voice is heard. In these spaces, every step carries more than intention. It carries representation. Every word feels measured. Every silence amplified. You begin to navigate not only expectations, but perceptions. The language you speak becomes something you monitor. The accent you carry, something you question. The way you express yourself, something you refine, soften, adjust. You listen more carefully, speak more cautiously, like you caution yourself consciously, and over prepare everything that you do, not because you are incapable, but because you feel you must prove what others are allowed to assume. And somewhere in that constant navigation, a quiet question begins to echo. Am I enough here? Not because you are not, but because the environment has not always reflected back your belonging. There are moments when you translate your thoughts twice before speaking. Moments when you wonder whether your ideas were overlooked or simply unheard. Moments when you shrink parts of yourself just to fit into spaces that were never designed with you in mind. And this is where imposter feeling deepens, because it is no longer just about competence. It is a hat on your identity. It becomes about identity. It becomes about carrying histories, cultures, languages, and experiences into spaces that often see only a fraction of who you are. It becomes about succeeding despite unfamiliar system, despite unspoken rules, despite the subtle weight of being the other. So, when you question yourself, when you wonder if you truly belong, pause for a moment. Because what you are feeling is not a lack of worth, it is the impact of navigating spaces that were not always made for you, or that never made space for you. And still, you showed up, you learned, you adapted, you grew, you achieved, not by accident, but by wanting, not by lack, but through a strength that had to stretch across cultures, language, and expectations. And now, your history or your story is not an exception. No, it is part of something much larger, a shared experience, a quiet, often invisible resilience carried by migrants, by minorities, by those who have had to build belonging where it was not freely given. In this book, You Are Never an Imposter, this book was born from that realization. It is not just a guide. It is a mirror, a space where you may see yourself reflected, not in your doubt, but in your depth. Not in your hesitation, but in your courage. A space where we begin to question the voice that tells us we are not enough and gently, powerfully replace it with one that reminds us we always have been. Because the truth is this: you were or are not an imposter. You are someone who has learned to adapt your own legitimacy in a world that has not always affirmed it. A world that sometimes asks you to adapt more, prove more, carry more. And together, we are going to unlearn that. If you are interested to know more about The Imposter, the book is available on Amazon. You Are Never an Imposter: Unlearning Self-Doubt and Reclaiming Your Place. Written by me, Maureen Akinyi Burgstahler. See you on the next episode where we will go deeper on the topic of imposter. Have I awakened something in you? Then this book is available, and of course more other books that I have under Maureen Akinyi Burgstahler on Amazon. So you can find and order it. And then if you want it to be signed by me personally, you can just write me or DM me. You can find me on all social media platforms. Just give me a DM and tell me, you know what, I need the book and please can you sign it for me? I'll do that and send it definitely back to you. Thank you so much for staying with me on this episode, and see you on the